Sawasdee krab. Greetings once again from Kasit Piromya in Bangkok. This time I will speak a bit about the foreign policy directions of the new Thai government under the leadership of Prime Minister Sethar Thavisin. As I have been often asked lately for the past few weeks, the question was, will there be a lot of foreign policy changes by the new Thai government, especially on the issues of migrant worker, refugees forthcoming from Myanmar in particular, and political asylum seekers from Cambodia and from Myanmar. And my answer right away was that I don't foresee much of any of the changes in the policy direction of the new Thai government, especially when it comes to the posturing of Thailand in Southeast Asia, including the South China Sea. And I give the reason why I don't expect or foresee any foreign policy changes. The answer is that I see this new coalition government of Thailand as a conservative one. Okay, which means to maintain or hold on to the status quo position as much as possible. The new government doesn't seem to have the sort of progressive thinking or to thinking out of the box. That's one point, conservatism. The second point is that I look at the composition of this new government, that more than half of the coalition partners of this new government are political parties, are the main political party from the last government. So with the majority of the present coalition government composed of political parties that were the main players of the last government, I don't expect, it would be very difficult for me to see any fundamental changes or drastic changes of the course of direction of Thailand foreign policy posture. It's the same people, more or less. The third point is that the new Thai government under the leadership of the Pheu Thai party, okay, has to make a compromise with the military-backed conservative parties. So it's a marriage, okay, between the conservative civilian political parties led by the Pheu Thai, the marriage with the conservative political parties more or less backed by the military establishment. So the presence, the ominous presence of the military establishment, not outright, but the presence is there in the air, in the atmosphere, means that any changes of foreign policy direction without the consent or the green light from the military establishment would be difficult. And the military establishment, which was part and parcel of the last government, was quite conservative in their outlook when it comes to foreign policy matters, not taking a sort of a proactive stand at all, and try to avoid making commitments whenever they could. And the case in point is about the situation in Myanmar. The last government and the present government seems to be continuing the same policy posture of closing the Thai-Myanmar border to the influx or the incoming of refugees, looking at the whole thing from a security angle. And one could not understand what are the security concerns, and trying to do whatever it could in order to placate and to please the military junta on the other side of the border, disregarding the aspirations of the ordinary Myanmar people for freedom and democracy. So the policy direction of the past Thai government, which seems to be continuing into this new Thai government, is to have a cordial relationship with the military authorities in Myanmar and ignoring and disregarding altogether the existence of the democratic forces of Myanmar. So in that sense, one could not foresee any flexibility of the position, because the present Thai government would always carry out policy measures with the thought of trying to please and placate the military establishment of Myanmar as much as possible. But to open the border for the refugees to come to provide the humanitarian and so on would be construed by the military authorities of Myanmar as, I think, siding with the democratic forces of Myanmar, and at the same time helping the livelihood of the various Myanmar minorities along the Thai-Myanmar border. So that's one point that I think that could not be anything. Second one, I think, is the hesitancy to have a concrete position of Thailand in line with and in support of the fellow ASEAN member states that have the issue of conflicting claims of the territory in the South China Sea. Because Thai's position seems to be standing in awe of the Chinese instead of taking the position, the concern of the fellow ASEAN into consideration and join forces with fellow ASEAN members to have a joint stand, speak with one united front, a voice, united position to take up the issue with China to turn South China Sea into a sea of peace, security, and common prosperity, instead of allowing the Chinese side to keep on threatening fellow ASEAN member states and to have a sort of a very aggressive postures in the waters of the South China Sea. So this is the point that I don't think that there will be much of the policy direction. But hopefully that if we can raise voice, then the Thai Prime Minister will take some time to rethink the whole issue and repositioning Thailand foreign policy direction in the direction that it should be, that is to provide, I think, the peace, security, and the progress of democracy to fellow ASEAN citizens in Myanmar. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากครับ